Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to guide you through your first steps to get set up with Attio. There's a reason Attio shows companies and people as your first pages in the workspace, and that's because they are objects. Uniquely, Attio gives us the freedom to create our own custom objects to track our own data types based on our business's unique requirements. This means if we're a bakery, we can create a custom object for recipes or cookie flavor suppliers, allowing us to create unique attributes. Just remember that objects are equivalent to a Google spreadsheet. If you use Notion, they are equivalent to databases and entries on that database. I then recommend you click into a record that has been created for you. This will open up the record, and we are currently looking at the records page. This page is highly customizable and we can configure the layout to our liking. The main features to be aware of here are the activity section, capturing all emails and meetings that you have had with a given company, person, or record in an object. The attributes on the right-hand side are equivalent to properties or columns in a Google spreadsheet. They are data points that you want to capture related to this record in the object. Given that we are looking at the company's object and we are currently looking at a company record, it makes sense that we see domain, name, description, team, and categories associated to the company. If I was to click into a given people entry and then select a given person, we can see that the attributes on the right hand side are different to reflect the fact the people object has a different set of attributes and a different set of data points associated to it. These attributes can be customized to your team's unique way of working. Optionally, we can select Add Activity to manually capture an in-person meeting or telephone call, which would not otherwise be captured in your calendar or email threads. We can now see the call has been logged in the activity feed. As I mentioned, one of Attio's unique strengths is its ability to create custom attributes and objects. To add a new attribute that is not previously configured in Attio, simply select Add Column, scroll down to New Attribute, and you can then choose a variety of different attribute types to create. Classify Record will attempt to organize the record and give it a label based on a set of criteria. Summarize Record will summarize the activity and metadata around a given record. Research Agent will conduct internet research based on a prompt, such as tell me about this person's employment history. It will search the internet and then fill in a summary based on what it finds. Prompt Completion Autofill will usefully convert text into numbers and numbers into text, allowing you to update the record with the correct data type, and so on. Attio also comes pre-built with a whole variety of different smart attributes, which will automatically fill in based on information that Attio is able to access. To explore some of these smart attributes, head over to your object, such as companies, select Add Column, and then we can see the variety of different attributes that we can turn on. In this case, we're going to select LinkedIn, and we're going to click Add Column, and select Description. Both of these are examples of smart attributes, cases where Attio is going to try and fill in the attribute with information. So in this case, it's providing a URL to the LinkedIn account of the given company, along with filling in a description of the company. To hide an attribute, simply select the column and click Hide from View. Attio also comes included with Communication Intelligence, which will capture information from emails and from calendar events and add them to the communication tabs, both in emails and activity. This will automatically be populated based on when you connected your Attio accounts to your Google Calendar and email. Based on this communication tempo, Attio will calculate a connection strength score, giving you an indication of how strong the contact is. To view the communication strength score, go back to the table or Kanban you are viewing the records on, select Add Column, type in Strength, and then choose if you'd like to see an overall connection strength or a team-specific connection strength based on the communication tempo you've had with people at the company. In this case, we're going to select Connection Strength, and this is going to display the strengths based on Attio's calculations, depending on how much you have communicated and worked with the records over your email and calendar. One of the most powerful attributes available in Attio is the Relationships attribute. This allows us to associate certain records with records of another object type. So let's illustrate this by creating a new custom object, heading over to Workspace Settings, selecting Objects, creating Custom Object, and then giving the object a name. Once we select create object, it's going to create this data type for us to interface with, and we can select attributes. Let's create a new relationship attributes and associate this projects object to the company's object type. By clicking on relationship, we can indicate that the associated attribute name on the projects is company. We can then choose the other object type that we would like to connect this object to. In this case, it's going to be the company's object. We can then choose what type of relationship we would like to create between both of these data types. One-to-many is useful when you have a parent object that you would like to connect to multiple different records of the same object type. For example, if you have a company as a lead, but they have many deals in the pipeline, you would select one-to-many. If there is always a one-to-one match, such as a given employee only working at one company, you would select one-to-one. Many-to-one is the opposite of the first relationship type, where we can indicate multiple projects connected to a single company. And many-to-many allows unlimited connections between companies and projects. In this case, because we are creating a projects object, and because a given company may have 4 projects with us, we're going to select many-to-one. This will allow us to associate multiple projects to a single company. Great, this looks good. Let's click Create Attributes, and we've now created our relationship. Now, if we return to the object, selecting into Projects, creating a new view, such as a table, we can say All Projects, Create View, and we can now house our project data in Attio. We are no longer confined to just using the companies and people object types. So by selecting New Project and associating it to a given company, we can click Create Record. This has now created the project tied to this company. If for some reason you see this long string of text, don't worry, head over to Workspace Settings, scroll down to your objects that you've just created, in this case Projects, select Appearance, and then where it says Record Text, select Create New Attributes, Text, Project Name, and then by creating that attribute we can assign the record text to the project name, meaning when we jump back to our custom object, we now have an unnamed project, but we can go ahead and give it a name. Now, of course, given that we set up the many-to-one relationship between projects and companies, we can naturally go ahead and create new projects and associate it to the same company. So I can associate this project to Upwork again by giving the project a name. In this case, I would just like to display the name. So we're going to click Company. This shows we've created a new object. We've created multiple records in that object, and we have associated it to a single company. We can also call and display information from Upwork. So if we clicked into Upwork, we can see there's a whole bunch of attributes here, as I showed you earlier. Categories, domain, team, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can actually access that information directly on the project's object by selecting Add Column, selecting Company, and then choosing, for example, Domains to display. This column is therefore rolling up the domain, which is currently stored in the Upwork record in the company's object, and it is displaying it as a column in the project's object type. We can confirm this is true by hovering over the column, and we can see it's displaying company to domains. Let's rename this by selecting on the column, choosing Edit Column Label, and then giving the column a new name, such as domain. Hopefully you're getting the impression that objects are really powerful in Attio, and they allow you to capture different data types that you wouldn't previously have been able to have done in a CRM.